Top 25 comic book movies 2000s. Obviously, the genre of the millennium, the genre probably for the next 20 years. When the internet came out, fanboys became kind of the mainstream. They were able to dominate the internet airwaves and kind of like give their beefs about what kind of movies they wanted to have. And this is what kind of affected when I grew up as a kid. I remember Superman being like the original Superman, 1970 Superman, being on TV and being so kind of blown away by it. It was kind of cool. And Superman 2, me and my friend used to watch Superman 2, the ending fight sequence over and over and over again. And then when I was still in grade school, the original Batman came out, the Tim Burton Batman with Michael Keaton playing Batman, and that was like a huge deal. And I remember thinking to myself, why don't I just make more of these movies? Where's Wonder Woman? That, by the way, where is Wonder Woman? Hasn't even shown up yet. And why don't they just keep making more of these movies? And of course, there was a lot of money on the table, of course, because Marvel Comics, DC Comics owned all the rights to all these characters, and they had to kind of come up with a certain negotiation so everybody is happy. But at the same time, a lot of comic book movies have failed. And we don't really recognize the failures of many of the comic book movies because they're always high concept films, and you gotta make your money back if you're putting $100 million on a table for a comic book movie. And in some movies that, like the Iron Man franchise, I didn't even know what Iron Man was. Many people didn't. The average fan base didn't, and it still kind of like jumped on the airwaves. So it was perfect casting, perfect timing. In 2008 when it came out, we kind of wanted that bad boy kind of in the comic book realm because we saw it on TV all the time, the good bad guy. But we also have to understand, the comic book fans have to also understand, is that it's not really about them wanting the film, because it's like the Star Trek fans, what they have never understood is that you're going to go to the film no matter what. So it's not about you being Star Trek fan. It's not about you getting exactly what you want as a Star Trek fan. It's basically for the average audience member like myself, wanting to go see the new Batman movie, wanting to go see the new Spider-Man movie. That's what's going to drive the attention. But of course, on the internet, you can drive the kind of the conversation forward and get people to be interested in these kind of movies, which is, they're very idealistic movies in its concept. And number one is Batman Begins, because I remember watching this movie in 2005 and going, wow, this is a movie about fear. This is a movie that has substance to it. It's trying to do something deeper than the original comic book movie. And I think when that movie came out, it kind of like set the tone of future comic book movies, where I remember the same year I watched which was a terrible film, the Fantastic Four film, which was still kind of cartoonish, still kind of appealing to the younger generation, to the kids. And when Batman Begins came out, it was all about, no, we're going to appeal to the teenage audience, to the 20-year-olds, to 30-year-olds, and to the fanboys. And that's what's going to get people in the theater, because nothing like teenage boys wanting to go to see the movie time and time again. I got American Splendor number 2 because American Splendor is based on a comic book movie, and it's funny. It's a very clever film, and it's not, maybe some comic book fans will shrug and like what the hell is this movie doing on the top 25 list? But it is a comic book, and it is a great film, and it's different from all the other films. Spider-Man obviously is constant on this list as well. The Spider-Man's, the old franchise and the new franchise. I thought The Amazing Spider-Man was kind of a perfectly executed comic book film. It was smart but not smart enough, and of course the Batman films dominate this list as well. The first two Batman films, the Dark Knight and of course Batman Begins. So it's an interesting list. It's not, probably people will, obviously that's what the fanboys do. They argue and they complain and they say that this shouldn't be here and that shouldn't be there, and like, why is that doing there? But that's the fun of it. But it's more about, the interesting fact for me is doing this list in 2014 is basically saying, wait a minute, this is a list now. This genre is not going away. This genre is going to be, they're going to be doing X-Men movies for the next 100 years because they have so much material. And that's the amazing thing about this. It's like, will it ever end? Like, will people be sick of the comic book films? But I don't think so. You got, like, as I'm doing this list, you got the new Superman movies coming out. You got Batman versus Superman. You got the Avengers films. This is huge, and that's my review. Over and out.